Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Schad. I write for FanSided and Zone Coverage, and we do this every Tuesday and Friday morning right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. So however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. On today's show, you see him on the right-hand side. He is Mr. Nick Marty filling in for Adam Patrick. Adam will be back on Thursday, or excuse me, on Friday. We record on Thursday, but it actually drops on Friday. I'm pulling the curtain back here. But we are going to go over the latest chapter of Vikings quarterback drama. We'll recap even more injuries, because why not? And we'll talk about the offensive line because yikes. But Nick, how are you doing? Welcome back to the show. It's been a minute, bud.
It has, and thanks for having me. It's feeling pretty appropriate to have me on with just as much time as Justin School has been getting for our favorite squad. I feel like the Justin School of your podcast. When the big dogs, the ones you're relying on, get hurt, sometimes you got to pull someone up from the practice squad and throw him out there and hope he doesn't flounder. That's why I'm here. So I'm excited to talk about our favorite team.
As someone who is not excited about Myles Garrett potentially giving Justin School an F5 mid-game next week, I figure the offensive line is a great place to start because it sucks again. It is very bad and it is very injured. How bad is it, you ask? Well, the Vikings gave up 6 sacks in the 24-21 loss to the Steelers. That's what Google's box score said. I swear to God, it was more. Like 7, 8, 9. I don't know. Carson Wentz went to Suplex City. He got poked in the eye. At one point, he was holding his ribs. Phil Mackey of Score North tweeted this banger out. The Vikings 13.95% sack rate is currently the third highest in the NFL since 1990. The 2002 Houston Texans had a 14.53% sack rate, and the 2023 New York Giants had a 14.1% sack rate. And of the top 10 teams in sack rate in a single season, only the 1992 Philadelphia Eagles had a winning record at 11.5, or excuse me, 11-5, and they had a 12.98% sack rate. So I guess my first question is, how are we here again? Because the Vikings dumped all this money into the offensive line. Dudes get hurt. I understand every team deals with injuries. Ryan Kelly suffered his 5th concussion since 2023. It might be 4, 5. It's like the sacks. I don't even know anymore. Brian O'Neill injured his MCL. At least the Vikings training staff believes that. And it was on a play where I swear somebody jumped over the center, which I don't think you can do that anymore, but didn't call it. And Donovan Jackson is out with a wrist injury. So, I mean, let's back up. How are we here, Nick? Because I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, we're here because of the fact that 2 things happened. Number one, we invested in the offensive line. It has been 5, 6 years that every offseason I've been screaming, hey, let's invest in the offensive line. I was so sick of our short arm center getting bull rushed by anyone big, getting destroyed in big games. So we actually went out and did it. And when that happens, the universe says, sorry, Vikings fans, you can't have nice things. Thanks for trying. But here we are going to take it not just a little bit, but all the way to the other extreme. I don't even know. I mean, you said it perfectly. Like, they finally addressed it, right? They dumped a ton of resources into it only to see, what are we? It feels like we're in like week 12 with how many injuries we have. We've only played 4 games, and I can't even keep track. I don't even know half of these names. It's awful right now, and it just feels like a lot of poor luck, poor timing, coming to a head all at once.
I know you feel this way because you're moving too. That's why, if you're looking and it seems a little empty behind Nick, it's because all of his things are literally packed up in a truck right now and ready to head across the metro area.
Yes,
But
sir.
I mean, this has been the longest September ever. And I don't know if it's because I was moving or Jabra or whatever. I don't understand it. Like the Vikings feel like they've been playing for 3 months and we're only in week 4 or not. Now we're in week 5, but you get the drift. I mean, there's no depth on this unit. Michael Juergens, Blake Brandel, and Justin School all played on Sunday, and it just did not go well. Everyone is screaming for Walter Rouse to play, and he wasn't even active on Sunday. Like, this is, to get back to what you said, this is the gravitational pull of the universe every time the Vikings make the playoffs. The last time the Vikings made the playoffs in back-to-back season was 2008-09. We were getting drunk in River Falls, Nick, the last time they made back-to-back. It's been a long time. I was sleeping in a living room. Like, it was crazy. I mean, how is it that every year the Vikings make the playoffs and then everything not just kind of goes the opposite way, like all the way, like everybody sucks, everybody gets hurt, everybody regresses, nothing is what you think it is, and then next year somehow everything will be fine and it'll be like last year where nobody gets hurt. Sam Darnold looks like an MVP candidate. It's all sunshine and roses until Jared Verse hits the superfly Jimmy Snuka splash on I guess I'm dating myself now, it'd be a tsunami on Sam Darnold in the playoffs. Like, our pets' heads are falling off. I don't understand it anymore.
It is, Isaac Newton had his laws of physics. This feels like a laws of Viking fandom, right? You are 100% right. We go back and forth. We should have seen it coming. Like, it's our own fault that we got excited about everything this year. We should have been prepared. We are seasoned fans. This should not have come to a shock to any of us. But yet here we are once again. And just to see if they can weather this storm, right? That's the mode I am in right now. Can we weather this storm to try to pull off something that requires, I think even my expectations have shifted from like, let's see if we can be a contender to like, let's just try to be competitive and flirt with the playoffs this year with all these injuries. But that's the mindset I'm in right now.
I was going to bring this up later in the show, but we'll just do it right now. Like, should we be adjusting our expectations for this team? Because I understand why we came into the year thinking the way we did, where you have this team that won 14 games a year ago. You had a veteran quarterback, but it was going to cost you too much to like that's where this is all boiling down, is that it's roster strategy. And like, I don't blame the Vikings for doing anything they did this offseason, but they made a lot of bets. Like, Ryan Kelly had injury history beforehand. Again, people get hurt, like the Green Bay Packers. A lot of their guys are banged up right now. A lot of Lions are banged up right now. A lot of people across the league are banged up right now. So, like, to me, that's not an excuse. But when I watch this team play, they're just not very good. And that's not just the offensive line, it's the defensive line. It's the penalties. I think the Vikings are like the second most penalized team in the NFL right now. Like, they just can't get out of their own way. And when I watch this team, yeah, they're 2-2. And I think they have a good chance of winning on Sunday against the Browns, even though that offensive line is going to pound whoever is in the pocket into the turf. I think the Vikings can win that game on Sunday if you're 3-2 going into the gauntlet, going into Philly, going into the Chargers, the Lions, the Ravens. I don't have the schedule right in front of me, but it's a 4-game gauntlet where we're going to find out if this team actually is a Super Bowl contender or what. We're in the hunt again. We're 9-8. Like, that's how I feel about this team right now.
Yeah, and I think you nailed a few things. Like, obviously the offensive line, we've already chatted about that, but the defense too. I mean, it's missing 2 starting linebackers. It's or at least an edge rusher in Van Ginkel and starting linebacker in Blake Cashman. We knew that the corner depth was a little bit suspect to begin with, and they just can't seem to stay out of second and short, third and short. Like, teams are just gashing us early. It feels like we're always behind the sticks, right? They talk about on offense how you want to, stay on schedule, and it feels like we're the opposite on this defense, and we're relying on big sack-worthy turnover level plays that are just not coming against good teams, against smart teams. And so There's a lot of issues up and down both sides of this ball. Some of them are you can't fix. I mean, because of depth issues. Some of them are just unfortunate to really see them rearing their heads in a time where we just can't afford things like penalties when we're already kind of up against the clock.
Like, just to close on the line, I don't think there's an answer. Like, if Brian O'Neill is out for a long time, are you tossing Justin School out there? Like, are you making another Cam Robinson trade, which in hindsight is kind of overkill, but your backup was David Questenberry. So like, this is, I go back to this. One of my favorite articles that I've ever written was about Mike Zimmer, Rick Spielman, and the just basically the House of Cards thing, where it's like every Sunday they need a lineup and they pull the slot machine and they need everything to hit. Like, they need the offensive line to play well. They need the defensive line to play well. They need the corners to do their job. They need all, like, last week it was a jackpot because everything hit. Like, Carson Wentz didn't crash the plane. Jordan Mason ran the ball. Like, none of that happened on Sunday. And like, you saw what happened. They got pretty much dominated. I know the score was 24-21. I know that towards the end of the game, they had a chance to win it. They got blown out yesterday. Like, I know what the score was. They got their asses kicked. And now I see a winnable game with the Browns, and I'm like, I don't know if they can win this game. I'm like, I think they can win this game, but I don't know. And then, everything, we'll get to the quarterback in a minute here, but I mean, everything kind of spins off of that.
Yeah, but I'm also in the camp of like, I don't know what team could survive. I don't want to make excuses, but like, I don't know what team could survive offensive line issues like that, right? It's not a fixable position because there are so few high quality offensive linemen out there that if you're good, you're starting on a team somewhere. No one gives those guys up very easily. And so when you're down three starters, I don't know any team that could survive that. And then it just makes everything, especially in an offense that's predicated on deep crossing, routes, long developing plays, attacking downfield. Like, it is set up for us to do something completely different than what is our style. And it just feels like we haven't adjusted yet.
So going to the defensive line, because I want to talk about that before we talk about the quarterback. I look at some fiddling with the numbers or little captions on YouTube. I apologize to our audience there, but the defensive line allows 131 yards to Jalen Warren. You can't see my little Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell yesterday. And the Vikings run defense now ranks 11th in yards per carry at 4.5 and 6th in rushing yards allowed. And those numbers could be worse if they did not face Chase Brown, who probably like fantasy football, like, hey, he was on my fantasy team once and I won my league. Cool. You never heard of him again. And DeAndre Swift, who's just a guy in my opinion. But don't worry, because the Vikings got Quinshawn Judkins, Saquon Barkley, Omarion Hampton, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Derrick Henry on the schedule. Fun times.
Cake.
How are we this bad against the run?
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, I know that the big guys they brought in the middle, and Hargrave and Allen, I mean, I knew they were pass rushers. I thought they were better against the run than what we've seen. I don't know what's happened to our linebacking core. I mean, Ivan Pace used to be an absolute missile, right? Coming in there, stopping the run. He has looked off. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what's going on with that dude. It just feels like we're guessing wrong in a lot of places too. It's a combination. I feel like I don't know, but it is strange to see a team that seems to have talent, seems to have the guys. It just feels like they haven't produced, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Like, I look at this defense, I'm like, it still should be a defense that we can win games with, right? You look at the Browns this weekend, and we should win this game based on I don't see the Browns moving the ball. But at the same time, if they can run the ball and they can do what some of these teams start to mirror what some of these other teams have done, and our players that are supposed to be these guys, right, don't show up and play like they have, then anything's on the table. And so it just has felt like a combination of not playing well, injuries, and then just guessing wrong with some of our coaching as well.
I think the loss of Van Ginkel and Cashman really hurt this team. They're just so good of run. And I mean, a lot of people are kind of doing the Harrison Phillips thing too. I feel like he's a marginal player, but he's like one of those guys too that just does his job. Like you don't have to
Mhm.
worry about him not being in the wrong run lane or whatever. Like he's just a very solid foundational player. I look at those bets. It's like the offensive line, like Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. They were signed as pass rushers, which is what the Vikings needed. The only problem is nobody stepped up to be that run stuffer guy. And we're sitting there with a whole bunch of guys who are like, quarterback, must get to the quarterback. Just wait, is that the running back going down the side? Yes, it is. It is. The running back is running away from me. I think Blake Cashman would make a big difference, and you're not going to get him back for, let's see, he got hurt in the opener. So I would assume he'd be back for the Eagles game, right? Because you got a bye week in
Yeah.
there and
Yeah.
whatnot. Van Ginkel, that scares me
Mhm.
because the concussion is one thing. He came back from that, and we saw how quickly things can change with Ryan Kelly. But also, it's this neck injury. He's been dealing with it all training camp. You know, he goes into the season, he plays a couple of games, and it starts acting up on him again. They signed him to a $20 million extension, and it is basically ironclad. Like full, I think it's like 23 million with 22 guaranteed. Like I I understand what they're doing because maybe Dallas Turner didn't take the rookie year leap that they thought. Dallas Turner has flashed this year,
Mhm.
but he's not the player that Andrew Van Ginkel is. Like that front seven has more questions than I expected, and some of it's just get Cashman back and it should help a little bit, but they are banged up right now and they're just not stopping the run. It's pretty maddening, I think, right now if you're a Vikings fan.
Well, and this team is predicated again on getting to third and long, right? That's when we feast. That's when the turnovers happen. That's when we can turn loose our blitzing scheme that is so effective. But it's easy to beat when it's 2nd and 3 and 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 1, right? Like it's easy to beat. Aaron Rodgers had a field day with that quick passing attack this last week. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the one way to beat a Brian Flores defense. You have to stay in front of the sticks. And I just, yeah, and Van Ginkel, anytime it's a neck, back, head, like it just feels like we're also getting into the injury territory that's like the stuff that lingers, not just 1 year, but like multiple years, ends careers in terms of not the same players they used to be. So it is not, duckies and rainbows really anywhere on this team right now.
I sit here and I think Quasey's like the guy who can't pay rent, but he just like puts in an 8 leg parlay just to like, if I just hit this, man, we're gonna be fine. Like we just need, all these guys to stay healthy and whatever. And to his credit, Isaiah Rodgers has been one of the best
Mhm.
additions they've made this year. He had a blocked field goal on Sunday. He looks incredible, but he's also a player that was signed, kind of buying the dip. I think he was 24, 25 years old. They sign him kind of the Byron Murphy Jr. plan. Byron Murphy obviously is a great corner, but again, like Ivan Pace, man, I think all he does now is just look tough, like TUFF tough.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, yeah, you can. And there is a spot for him. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not saying like get rid of him. He's a bum. Like, he's a great, blitzer. And again, another guy who wants to hit the passer, but running backs just shoot right by these guys. So, I mean, those two things need to change. And I don't think they're that far off. Like, if they stop the run, I think that's very, and the slant to DK Metcalf is what it is. Like, I think Pace messed up in coverage, which he tends to do. Like,
It happens.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. It happens. Sometimes you have a busted coverage, but it's little things like that. And I think that's the thing that is driving me, it's stressing me out as a Vikings fan so far.
Well, 3 of the 4 games have been almost unwatchable in terms of like the
You
the
could
the Cincy game was fun, right? But the
Yeah.
other 3 games, even though we won the Bears game for 3 quarters plus, it was like throwing my styrofoam Vikings brick across the room. Like, why can't we get anything going? Why can't we? It's been 3 games of that. They've made little pushes in 2 fourth quarters to make it seem. I mean, they got the win in the first week, but made it seem closer than it was. But they've been dominated pretty much every quarter outside of one in the first week and the Cincinnati Bengals. And so I don't know. I look at this next week and my whole expectations, like, should they? It's the Browns. Of course, you're going to think that, but really, there's nothing they have shown me for like an entire season that really gives me any sort of confidence that this week's going to go any different.
They should be 1-3.
Yeah, and then you
This
see
should be a 1-3 team.
yeah, and then you see the Falcons the week after they play us get just destroyed, and it's like, oh, are we losing that bad? And then are we losing that bad to bad teams as well? Like, oh man, so I don't know. I don't know. At least the Packers tied this week, right? So at least I have that to hang my hat on.
That was the weirdest game on Sunday night.
Yep.
Just I kept wanting to go to bed, and I was texting my Packer fan friend Renee, who's I'll give this a shout out. So their daughter, I think it's third or fourth daughter. It's one on the back end. I know that. But somehow my friend is a Packer fan. Her husband, I believe, is a Raiders fan, but their kid is like a diehard Browns fan.
What?
So like,
how does that work? How does that happen?
I don't know. So like she sent, because I found this out because she sent me a video. This is like a few years ago. And like she just goes, I got a situation over here. And it's just her daughter on the couch, just like screaming. And like, dad's like, hey man, what's going on? She's like, the Browns lost. And
like, it's not the Chiefs or the Bill. Like, how do you fall in love with the Browns? I feel like Browns fans are only Browns fans because it's been in their their family for generations, and they love the pain a lot like we do. How does someone young choose that? I don't know.
Did they see Draft Day and like Sonny Weaver Jr. and this guy balls? Yeah. I mean, even like the other people who like the Browns are like, I feel like starting a Madden franchise today. I'm going to rebuild the Browns because they've never been good. Like, it's kind of like the Lions back in the day. Like, you're just like, they've always sucked. Let's rebuild them. But
oh man,
I don't. What is your college football?
Yes,
26 player and everything else.
Yes.
What is your theory on taking schools in the Big Ten where the Gophers play, or even like an NFC North team? Never, ever would I do the Packer rebuild, or in like Bears too. But like I've done a Lions one. I mean, why not?
There's certain teams, like, so whenever I start a dynasty, now that we're going to get really nerdy here, right? It's always start small. I usually start in the MAC or someplace like that. And I'll pass up most Big Ten teams. And then I say that currently I'm the head coach at Purdue, which is like not someone I hate, right? And so, but there's a lot of teams like won't touch Ohio State, would never touch either the Wisconsin, Iowa wouldn't even, like, the only reason I'd take their job was to recruit nothing but 1-stars, get fired, and set them back for years and years and years. I'm that petty. And then, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And then you just book them at your next school.
Yep, exactly. But no, I traditionally try to stay out of any team where I have to go play my Gophers and shellac them in any way. Or I make the Big Ten so big that I only have to play them, put them on the other side, the other side of the conference, and play them once every 4 years.
Like when you add Notre Dame to the Big Ten.
Heck yeah, always. Iowa State, Notre Dame, Cincinnati usually gets added to my Big Ten, trying to add it up. Yep. Oh, if you want to see spreadsheets of conference realignment that I've done, I've got all sorts of long car rides to the cabin where I'm like geographically finding which team goes where. That's what's fun about it.
I had one this, then we'll get to the underdog read and get back on track here. But I used to, so when I had college football revamped, I was playing it on the PS3, and that was like my big like, I'm gonna be here a while. I'm just gonna overpay for a PS3 NCAA 14. And then like some nerds report, so they just cracked the game open and updated it. It was great. So I remember, in the old days, I think they only allowed 16 teams in a conference.
Mhm.
And I think there were a couple things that were in there. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take all the G5 schools and I'm just going to go like relegation mode. So like
Nice.
Conference USA was the bottom. Then you had the Sun Belts. Then you had, the American was the top, and like top two teams went up, top two teams went down, and like that sort of thing. I love the fact that you can get super into it and stuff. And like people bitch about it all online, all this stuff. Like, I'm not an ultimate team guy. Like I'm a dynasty guy. I'm a franchise guy. Those are fun to me. Like, don't you want to go online and assert your No, I don't want to. I don't want my ass to get kicked by a 9-year-old who's just, grinding.
Toxic environment. I want to play on my all-American level and feel good about myself and build programs and win championships. That's my goal in life.
Well, if you want to feel good about yourself, football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get in on the action. Playing Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. You get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash, and you can play with just as little as $1. I have been playing Underdog for years, and I'll tell you how easy it is. We know the Vikings can't stop the run, right? And we know that Justin Jefferson is going to get his. So I take out my Underdog app. I go higher on Justin Jefferson receiving touchdowns, and I go higher on a Quinshon Judkins rushing touchdown. Submit my entry, and if both score on Sunday, you will win 3.97 times your money. It's just one of the entries that you can make for Sunday's game. Download the app today, sign up with the promo code The Age, which is all one word, and you score $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code The Age. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS _.html for details. Offer not available in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. If you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. And in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. All right. So we talked about the offensive line. We talked about the defensive line. Now we got to talk about the quarterback, because we cannot have a show without a quarterback controversy at all. And Carson Wentz, the stats look good. 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. But throwing the ball 46 times isn't a recipe for a win. And I also think that he didn't do a lot of things that J.J. McCarthy would have done yesterday. Now, McCarthy, the plan is, I saw a report that he is going to run the scout team next week to kind of test the ankle out, but he's unlikely to play against the Browns. That would mean bye week, and he would return in week 7 against the Philadelphia Eagles. My question is, are you putting J.J. McCarthy back on the field? Let's say Carson Wentz, let's say he goes in the middle between the Bengals game and the Steelers game. Are you starting J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz?
Oh man, it's so hard because there's a couple of factors, right? I keep thinking about David Carr. If you remember old David Carr, Fresno State, older brother to Derek, went to the Houston Texans with all this fanfare, played behind a terrible offensive line and lost all of his confidence in the world. Like, if this offensive line is in shambles, to me, throwing a quarterback who's already right now, probably like confidence wise, a little bit shaken against the Philadelphia Eagles on a big spot, like it feels like not the right time. If the offensive line can get healthy, or at least a piece of the offensive line can come back, then I think you think about it. You got to get him some time. But the thought of him going up against the Philadelphia Eagles team and defense with that offensive line and his confidence, I don't know, man. That's a really challenging spot to put a young quarterback in. And maybe the Carson Wentz revenge angle, maybe we get a little something out of him, and then the next week we try JJ.
It is funny from his first two starts because they didn't go particularly well. I know he got the win in Chicago. That fourth quarter was fun. It was nuts, and it makes me excited about the future. The game against Atlanta, I was there, and that was a big ol' what the fuck. We've gotten both ends of the spectrum so far. And when you look at guys who watch film and know what they're talking about, they say things like JJ did a lot of good things in those games. It was just the players around him they didn't do their jobs. Like in Chicago, a lot of players didn't play up to their potential. Against Atlanta, nobody played up against it. Maybe you could make an argument for the defense because they did hold Atlanta to a whole bunch of field goals, but they couldn't stop the run. Like, I think the pieces around JJ McCarthy are kind of failing him right now. And Kevin O'Connell is going to look at him in practice and make it the right decision. Like, I have full faith in him. He's not going to toss him out there because, like, oh my God, I got to save my job. No, he's going to be like, all right, I think he needs to play, but I don't know if putting him out there against the Eagles defense with a leaky offensive line. I mean, if you're down O'Neal, if you're down Jackson, if you're down Kelly, like you're going to have to learn how to play with that stuff eventually. But if you're a 22-year-old quarterback who has very limited reps, we've kind of seen it now, he's more of a project than we thought. I would just redshirt him this year. I would have Carson Wentz take the bullets and then later in the year, put him out there. I know they want to win every game. I know they're always focused on being super competitive. And if McCarthy gives them the best chance to win, Kevin O'Connell's going to throw him out there. But I think, at some point you have to err on the side of caution, be like, all right, we're going to get this kid killed. Like, do we want to do this?
Especially with this stretch. I mean, they got the Eagles, they go to the Chargers, another really tough defense to go against. Detroit can rush the passer. To me, I like what you're saying. Maybe ride Carson through this middle stretch. And then when you get into, Baltimore's looked pretty leaky. You might be able to build some confidence there. Washington, Dallas, the Giants, kind of some of these teams later in the year. I think you can still get him some quality reps this year. But if we go, especially if we go and lose to Cleveland, if we're 2-3 and Carson doesn't play terrible, but we just can't get anything going and we lose a close, I just don't see the point in getting him killed through a stretch of games that to me seems like are going to be very difficult to win anyway. And I'm thinking long term now.
Well, I mean, why don't we just put Max Rosmer in because he's.
You want a Super Bowl, baby?
Look. I think it's cool to go for quarterback because when was the last time a go for quarterback wasn't even in the NFL? Was it like 1970?
Long time.
I mean, one hasn't even been drafted since the 70s. Yeah. But also, too, I mean, I saw it on Sunday because I went looking for it, admittedly. So it wasn't like on my For You or anything, but it was just like, we got to put in Brosmer, man. This Wentz thing isn't going anywhere. It's like, dude, he would get killed. Like, I understand he processes faster than anybody else, and he's very, very smart. And, maybe someday he becomes a good NFL quarterback, and I look pretty stupid for saying all this. But I mean, there are weirdos that are out there like, no, you got to put him in over McCarthy. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, and two, I got this message, like, should have signed Rodgers. Should have signed Rodgers. I told you I should have signed. Like, sell your soul somewhere else. Like, first of all, like, if you want to take the easy way out, like that's fine. And I mean, understand it. Like, if Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl here, nobody would care because nobody was going to care if Brett Favre won one. I totally understand that. Different situation.
And hindsight's so easy when you're 2-2 and you've had and you've
But
played
that's the
bad.
thing.
I
They're
know
only 2-2.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's so easy right now. It's such a lazy take to say that, right? Like, oh, we should have kept Sam Darnold. Like, that one actually, to me, is a more legitimate conversation. I still think they made the right decision with the information that they had. I'm not mad at the decision they made, but I'll listen to that. But I just think it's such a lazy take to then, like, now because of injuries and how this year has started, to now be like, I knew it all along. No, you didn't. You did not. Those would have been the same guys that if we would have signed Rodgers would have been like, what are we doing? We should have gone with the young kid, McCarthy, right? Like, it would have been the exact same people. Like, get that take out of here. It's I hate those kind of hindsight moves.
And I think I might have mentioned this early in the show, but I'll mention it again. I think the reason why this whole Wentz thing is supercharged is because your expectations were so high at the beginning of the year. This was supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. This was supposed to be a team that I think a lot of people thought they would come out of the gate 4-1, 5-0, like they did last year, and their defense would lead the way. And there's so many things going on wrong right now. I feel like some people would believe that if the Vikings kept Wentz and they put McCarthy behind him, it's an admission that this is just going to be a 9-8 season. You're going to be in the hunt. You're going to be super competitive, as the Wolves say, and you're not going to get close to the Super Bowl. But also, too, if you sit McCarthy a little longer because you're like, hey, like it's just not going to be beneficial for you right now. And then you put him in and he starts to build, then of course you'll have the hindsight, like, they should have put him in all along. But I mean, if he starts to build momentum, like that's what I said at the beginning of the year. Like if this team is better than they were in September, and like McCarthy looks, you're seeing some things in December and January, and maybe you do win a playoff game and you get bounced, you're going to feel pretty damn good about 2026. But I think we all just jumped the gun on this 2025 thing. And who knows? The Eagles were 2-2 last year, and I think they've lost one game since.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
There is
yep.
Definitely a chance.
Or we wait, Chris, 3 years. You talk go for quarterbacks. Drake Lindsey's going to be ready in 3 years. Did you see that boy throw it around this weekend? Like, get ready. Get ready. You think Max is getting some pub? Wait till Nick Marty starts, getting the Drake Lindsey fan club going.
I think I saw Flex say something where it was like Max Brosmer pretty much was like, I'm not going to let you be a freshman. Like, we are going to prepare like you are going to go into the horseshoe. And oddly enough, he is going into the horseshoe this weekend. No, I mean, I was trying to think of it myself. I'm like, when was the last time a Gopher quarterback had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Yep.
And it was actually Ethan Kaliak-Manis. He did that against Wisconsin a couple years ago.
Yep.
But the kid just looks the part. I mean, he's got the size, he's got the arm, he can move around a little bit. Of course, with today's college football, you have to worry nobody comes calling in the portal. But I mean, the kid seems to like it here. And like I said, I mean, Sam Pittman's probably fired right now because he did not offer Drake Lindsey a scholarship. Like that kid in the SEC, he looks like an SEC quarterback.
Yep. Sorry to get you off track. You go for quarterbacks. And I'm super excited. I saw that kid live this weekend, and it looked different. It looked different than the Tanner Morgans and Marquise Grays of the world throwing the ball, which was nice.
Hey, put some respect on 2019 Tanner Morgan's name.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true. And
somebody
the regression was hard, though. The regression was very hard to deal with for this Gopher fan. But 2019 Tanner Morgan he dealt all season long.
Somebody had to get the ball to 2 NFL receivers.
It helps.
So, I mean, there is that. Before we go, every time you're on, I have to ask, and I don't even know if I want to ask right now, but like, you got any hot wrestling takes, or are you like me where you're just like, I can't afford to go to a show anymore, so screw this?
I am so down on the whole product right now, and it's not even the actual product that I'm seeing. It's decisions to put WrestleManias in certain places. It's the price of how much it would take to get a family to go see their shows. It's odd decision making that seems to be about moments and selling out and making money versus. I mean, I'm not a dumb wrestling fan. Making money is always their number one priority, but it just feels like they're doing it in ways now that um, I don't know, just don't feel that right to me. And so, in a world, I think I was texting you about this, like in a world where there's so many content options with sports and football and Netflix, like if you're not producing a quality product that makes me want to watch, I have other options. And so, unfortunately, right now we're pretty in my household. We were typically a watch every week, and now it's on ESPN, and it's just like it's getting expensive to see a product that was always made for. It felt like people that were hardworking people that just liked the show, and so I'm down on it right now, my man.
I watched WrestlePalooza,
Terrible
and
name. Can we talk about how terrible that name
I
is?
so I think it was an old ECW pay-per-view.
Ugh.
So I mean, this is Paul Heyman's baby, but yeah, of course, the TKO dude's like, we're gonna turn this into as big of an event as WrestleMania. Yeah, of course you are, because you want every show to be as big as WrestleMania,
Mhm.
so you can charge up the ass for it, have 2 nights, and you know, just do your. I mean, it's disheartening. I mean, I did watch it. I do like the fact that ESPN's app has multi-view, but
Sure.
I also don't like the fact that it's $30 a month, unless
Mhm.
I did see Fubo TV has it baked in. So not an ad, not an ad. I want to make sure, but we're on YouTube right now. I forgot about that. But I mean, I did like the fact that I could go back and forth, but also too, I'm like, when was the last time that I would voluntarily watch a college football game with the sound on and have wrestling in the background?
Mhm. Mhm.
Couldn't think about it. And like we were saying, like right now they are focused on going viral and showing me that George Kittle is in the front row. I mean, SummerSlam is in Minneapolis next year. You and I have both been like, God, it would be cool to get a wrestling show in there. And we're not going to be able to get in because it's going to be like $1,000 to even
Ugh.
get close to the ring.
I know I'm starting to like break it because my daughter's a huge fan. We've sat front row at a Raw, and we've gone to multiple shows, and she's very excited about SummerSlam. And these first initial pricing of it, it's like, but I don't know if we can go as a family to this show. I mean, it's going to cost me 3-4 grand just to get my family through the door, and that's not even getting tickets that are legitimately decent seats. And that's like night one prices too. Like I can't even imagine. And so we're like slowly starting to be like, well, what if we invest our money the next time Raw comes and we'll sit close again? But that's even, I don't know. Everything's expensive. The world's expensive now.
See, what you got to do is you got to go downtown for the vibe.
Yeah.
Like usually with shows like that, there's like cool things here and there you can go to. And I mean, you can kind of soak it all in. Maybe you look at the last second, see if you get some tickets and whatever. But yeah, it's very disheartening. We are actually recording a show during an episode of Monday Night Raw, which is like if you told us this like 2 years ago, it'd be
No
like,
way.
are you insane? What are you're gonna miss something. No, don't worry about it. Like we don't. I will leave you. I will say this to end the discussion. I was watching a clip of Dom Mysterio's heel turn from Clash at the Castle in 2022. And I was watching it, just the crowd being that invested in it. And it's just like, man, we haven't had a crowd like that in a while that has just gone like even like Clash in Paris, like Paris crowds are pretty sick, but like even then they were just kind of like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, Dom is gold in everything he does. He's the best thing they got going right now. I love me some Dominic Mysterio.
WWE superstar Bad Bunny is doing the Super Bowl halftime. Everybody's like, who is Bad Bunny? I'm like, oh, I know exactly who he is. He's awesome. What you listen? No, I don't know any of his songs. I mean, I know the beats. Like, doom, chicka, doom,
Yeah.
doom, doom, chicka, doom. But I mean,
my daughter knows him as a DLC character from the video game. She's like, oh, it's that guy from the game. So you are 100% right. That's the only reason she knows who he is. And so, yep.
This
DLC.
is chestnut. This is chestnut checkers, people. If you don't know who Bad Bunny is, you will when Dominic Mysterio comes out in the middle of his set and beats his ass and challenges him to a match at WrestleMania because he is the greatest luchador of all time.
If that happens,
he'd
be, that's everything I want. Now, if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be severely disappointed. Just a chair shot right at the 50-yard line.
Or just done with his set and just this dude in a hood with a steel chair just in the back. Like, what am I watching? Oh, you gold, absolute gold. Well, Nick, thank you for coming on. I got to get my shout outs in. You got to check out my work at Zone Coverage. I got my Vikings work over there. We got the Minnesota Twins work over there as they fired Rocco, but the owners, I mean, it's the head of the snake's still there. So, I mean, I'll probably crash out at some point. And then you have the Wild, who are beginning their quest to lose in the first round of the playoffs next year. Let's go. State of hockey, baby.
State of hockey.
Check out the FanSided RBN network to keep up with everything that's going on in the NFC North. We got the Packers at Dairyland Express, the Bears at DeWindy City, Detroit Jock City for the Lions, and Sporting Soda for the Vikings. You can also check out thevikingage.com for all of the updates surrounding the Vikings as they look to turn it around in London against the Browns. This is the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of thevikingage.com. I am Chris Schad at The Real Chris Schad. He is Nick Marty. We do this every week right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel, Tuesday and Friday mornings. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. For Nick Marty, I am Chris Schad. 4 letters, 1 word. Skull.